What's up, everybody? It's Tony Lopez here with Alternative Living Spaces, and I'm really excited for today's video. I'm going to be breaking down some different things around business. And for those of you that know me, I've been in business since 2016, and I've learned a lot along the way. Some of these have been lessons that I've learned the hard way, right? And so my hope in this series that we're starting is to ultimately be able to help you find success in business. That goes for those of you that have already started a business, or for those of you that are now in the early stages and maybe just considering starting a business. You know, today we're starting a new year. It's 2024, start of a lot of new things, and just believe personally that this could be the year for you to start a business. You know, for me, having a business has been a big blessing. You know, it's given me an opportunity to increase my income in ways that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to. It's allowed me to do something that I'm passionate about and that I enjoy, so that when I wake up in the morning, I'm not looking forward to work, but I'm excited for the day and excited for the opportunities to continue to grow the business. And most of all, it's given me something that I own. You know, I remember working other jobs and getting paid hourly. And at the end of the year, all I had to show was my W-2, what I made. There wasn't any equity that I got in the business itself. And so starting a business, owning a business, running a business, there's a lot of additional benefits that come with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some slides here as we get started. And overall, basically in this series, it's going to be a number of videos, but we're going to be talking about this topic: how to start, structure, and scale your business. Some of you, you're in the position where you're just getting started. Others of you, you may have a business, but if you're honest, it's worse than having a job, and you feel like your business owns you. It's stressful, it's hard. At the end of the year, you look at your books and there's not really money left over. And so for those of you that are in that situation, I want you to consider what it may look like to restructure your business. This is something that I had to do. Business was something that I enjoyed doing, but ultimately I had several years that were really tough. And at the end of the years, I'd look at the books and didn't have any profit to show in the business. And it wasn't until I changed the structure of my business that things began to go a lot better. And so in future videos, we'll deep dive more on exactly what that means. And then lastly, how to scale your business. You know, how do you drive more traffic to your business? How do you grow your team so you can fulfill more orders? And so a lot of exciting stuff that we're going to be going over. Now, just briefly about me, I shared just a little bit ago, but so the company I started is called Alternative Living Spaces. We do over 7 figures per year annually, and we're a leader in the tiny home space. So we specifically focus on container tiny homes. We also do A-frame structures and just anything creative. Is stuff we enjoy doing. On social, we have about 500K followers. Majority of that is on our Instagram, and we're trying to grow our YouTube, so we're getting there. But I share those stats just to share with you that this isn't, you know, a message coming from someone that hasn't been in the fight. You know, I've been in the fight. I've been doing business for a little while now, and I've learned some really important things along the way, and feel like in a lot of ways I'm now on the other side of some things and feel like I'm in a good position to now share with you, encourage you, and help you navigate those waters and find success in business for yourself. I put here on the bottom, we have been featured in some pretty cool things as well. All that to just kind of build a little bit of rapport with you and encourage you that I'm not just, you know, recording this and haven't actually done the work. So my goal with this is to help you get started for those of you that haven't started a business yet. And then for those of you that are struggling in business, my goal is to help you get unstuck and ultimately begin to experience some freedom and get some profit, right? That's ultimately one of the main reasons you started your business. Now, what I want to share with you are some frameworks. And what these frameworks are going to do is help you to shape the business you're starting or to mold the business you currently have in a way that's going to make it more successful. So these are frameworks that lowered my overhead for my business by 90%. They doubled my profit, and they transformed a struggling and stressful business into one that is successful and that's thriving. And so these are frameworks, so we're just going to go over them in this video. I'm not going to deep dive into them in this particular video, but just want to lay the framework out for you. We're going to touch base on a couple other things towards the end of the video. And then in the following videos, we'll actually address each one by one. So business success framework. This is the framework of the things that I went through that helped me in my business. And so I'm just going to walk through them with you here. So we have first at the top, get loosed. Then you have get launched, get lean, get leverage, get leads, and get leadership. And so we're going to walk through exactly what that looks like. Each one of those are very powerful, specifically get lean and get leverage. Those are the two that really transformed my business in the last probably 18 months. And so really believe that those two principles or those two frameworks alone really have the ability to take any struggling business and ultimately help you get back on your feet. So now, one of the questions I hear often is, why start a business? What are the benefits to starting a business? For me, I remember when I was working valet here in Las Vegas, I was also working for a moving company and also for my local church. I had 3 different jobs, and at all my jobs, I would work really, really hard. And ultimately, with all those jobs, the pay was okay. I wasn't making a ton of pay. And so at the end of each month, I'd cover my bills. But at the end of each year, there wasn't much money left over. And ultimately, I hadn't built anything for myself. And somewhere along the line, I got bit by what I call the business bug. And I wanted to build something. And I wanted to build something for myself, not in a selfish way, but just something that was deep inside of me that I wanted to create. And so I went on this journey of thinking of all these different business ideas. I remember I had a notepad in my iPhone, and I would jot down ideas that would come to mind, and ultimately when I think about business, which we'll talk about here in a moment, it's ultimately, what is a problem that you can solve? And if you can solve a problem for people, you're going to get paid. And the larger the problem that you can solve, the more you're going to get paid. And so one of the questions that you can ask yourself is, what is something that bothers you? Or what is something that you hate? And oftentimes on the other side of that question, maybe a business, if you can have a solution to it. And so at the time when I was thinking of what kind of business to start, one of the things I hated was fueling up my gas tank. It just was annoying. I didn't like doing it. Once my tank would hit empty, I just would be bummed. I got to go to the gas station and sit there for 5 minutes and fuel up. And for whatever reason, that irritated me. And so I remember developing an idea and a concept of a mobile fueling business, and I'd be able to go to people's houses and fill up their cars for them, or be at shopping centers. And so I remember that was the genesis of my business ideas. I was thinking of all these different concepts. I thought of a dating app because at the time I was single, and one of my frustrations was finding someone to spend my life with. And so it was trying to think of solutions to that problem, and ultimately stumbled into the topic of affordable housing. Remember, I visited my parents one evening, and my dad had built my sister a tree house in the backyard. And I remember asking him how much it cost to build that tree house, which looked awesome. Like, I had a sliding glass door, had wood siding, a metal roof. I mean, it was cool. Like, I almost could have lived in it. And he told me that it cost him about $1,000. And I remember just being in shock. At the time, my apartment rent was $1,000. And I felt like, wow, you could literally build something that you can live in for $1,000, or I can pay $1,000 every month for the rest of my life. Like, something's not adding up here, and it's kind of frustrating. And so I ended up going down this path of, what could be affordable housing? What if we could create smaller homes that had everything that a normal home would have, but would be, a fraction of the price? And that led me into container construction, where I started converting shipping containers into tiny homes. And so I've been doing that for about 8 years now. It's been a blast. But that is ultimately the problem that I was solving when I started my business. Now, since then, that was back in probably 2015 or 2016, the business has evolved, and we've taken on new problems, and, helping people, providing solutions for, different things for people. But ultimately, that still is our heartbeat behind why we do what we do and why the business exists is ultimately we want to make an impact in affordable housing. So, going back to this original question, why start a business? It is something that basically is going to benefit you in the long run. When you work for someone else, they may not have those long-term benefits. When you have your own business, you have the ability to now get equity in your company, right? As you're developing this thing down the road, you can actually have the ability to sell it. Or what I love about business is I think about it this way, that I'm creating something that's bigger than me. When I think about what is Alternative Living Spaces, well, it's a business, but it's much bigger than Tony Lopez. Tony Lopez doesn't need to get up at 5 a.m. in order for Alternative Living Spaces to generate income, right? It has a brand. There's traffic that naturally goes to it based off what we've been doing for the last 8 years. And so it really is its own entity. And as it gets larger, it has the ability to earn more income. And so the goal as the business owner is to continue to feed that and ultimately find a way so that you don't have to work in the business as much. And you can actually now be in the position to be working on your business. Another thing here is that you get to love what you do. Now, for me, like I've mentioned before, every day when I wake up, like I'm excited for work. I'm excited for what I'm about to take on. I'm excited for the possibilities of what the business could become. And it's something that drives me. It's something that I love to learn more about. I'm always reading books on business and things like that. And so, you don't have to work a job that is a dead end job, that is something that you dread and that you don't want to do. You can actually create your own job or create your own business that is something that you can truly enjoy. A couple other points there, you can make an impact, right? So instead of just working a career to earn income, you now can choose to create a business that maybe solves a problem in an area that you're passionate about. And then I put here that you can build your own asset and that there's no ceiling, and I think that last point really is one of the points that I appreciate the most. I remember when I was working valet, a lot of my valet coworkers had been there for 15, 20 years. And the reality is in that context and in that job, there's a max. You may make good money, but you will always and forever only make good money. You're not going to be able to excel past that because there's only so many cars that you can park in a given period of time, etc. Right? Well, with your business, one of the benefits is that you have no ceiling. So you have the ability to continue to grow. And as that business continues to grow, your income also does. So that's very cool. Now, last slide here for this video is, what is a business? At its core, what is a business? Now, this is an important question, both for those of you that want to start a business, but also for those of you that are already in business. You need to ask yourself, what problem are you actually solving, right? People are paying you to solve a pain point in their life. And ultimately, business is an exchange of value. You are providing someone value, and in return for the value that you're providing them, they're paying you, right? And your pay is directly correlated to the amount of value that you can add. It's also correlated to the quantity of value that you add, aka how many people can you add value to. So the more value that you can add, and to the more people that you can add this value to, the more income you can generate. Now, as I say that, we're actually touching on one of the key pieces of the framework, which is get leverage. And so in that video, we'll deep dive into that topic of the relationship between income and the things that you're doing in your business and how to ultimately scale that. But right here, I just want to address the topic of what is a business and get your mind curious and thinking. For those of you specifically who are considering starting a business, these are the kind of things you want to ask. You don't want to ask, how can I get rich? How can I get a ton of money? You want to ask, how can I solve problems for other people? And how can I add value to other people? This may be through a skill set that you have or a skill set that you can develop, right? So for someone who has developed a skill set in the area of plumbing or electrical, that's more of a service-based business where now you can solve people's problems in those areas. Or maybe you get good at video editing or graphic design or photography, or whatever it might be. Those are all service-based opportunities that you can meet people's needs in. For others of you, you may consider developing a product. That's the path that I took. I saw a need in the market for affordable housing, and I thought, man, I think I can develop a product that can help to meet that need. And so in the same way, you have the ability to think of gaps in the marketplace and what products don't exist that you may be able to bring into the marketplace. Or you don't even need to invent a product. Maybe you see a product that's out there that is underserved in the marketplace. There is demand, but there's not sufficient supply, and the competition is very weak or very low. And you feel like, hey man, with my branding abilities and my marketing abilities, I can step into this space, and I think I can really beat the competition. So some different things to consider when thinking about starting a business. Now, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm excited to continue this conversation with you over several other videos that we're going to be putting out here. And in the next video, we're going to be jumping into the first step of the framework, which is Get Loosed. This is really important because it actually addresses the #1 bottleneck in every business. So I hope you can catch that, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future. Thanks.